This video is about customs seizures in the EU, how to seize counterfeit goods EU-wide. What are customs seizures? As a right owner of patents, trademarks and designs, you can ask customs officials to seize counterfeit goods that are infringing the patents, trademarks and designs. First of all, you have to file a request with customs. In the EU, that is now pretty straightforward. In Germany, there is an electronic system, for example, where you can just apply for a national or EU-wide request for customs seizures, and you can enter your information about the trademarks, about the owner, about the different counterfeit goods. After this request is filed, customs officers will start to seize goods on the borders of the EU or at airports and the like. So how can you help customs officers to improve the chances of success that they will seize goods? You will have to file pictures of original goods, and it's best to also file pictures of counterfeit goods and how to find out whether something is counterfeit, for example, in clothing. If the seams are usually finished seams, and in the counterfeit goods it's usually the case that these are unfinished seams, then that's a clear indication that these are counterfeit goods. Or if you have some security tags or other security measures that are easily identifiable by customs officers, then of course you would tell them as well. Also, it's helpful to file a request in several languages, at least in German and English. But for example, if you know that the counterfeit goods will enter the EU market through, for example, Bulgaria or Greece, a common land route from Turkey, then you might want to also file your request in these languages. After the request is filed, you get reports from customs officers all over the EU. So, for example, I receive mail from or email from customs officers in Italy, from Heathrow in the UK, from Germany, from all over the place. You can help the customs officers if you employ the help of any intelligence or, let's say, agencies that help you to find out where the counterfeit goods come from. So, for example, there are agencies that help you to track down where counterfeit goods in China are made and where they are loaded on containers and which ship the container is on. So if you can tell customs officers in the port of Hamburg that a certain ship will arrive with a certain container with counterfeit goods of your trademark, then you can tell customs officers, okay, look at this particular ship arriving at that date, look at that container, and please see whether there are any counterfeit goods inside the container. After a report by customs officials, you typically have 10 days to respond. So you can either respond by saying, okay, these are authentic original goods, then they can be freed by the customs officials. Then an option would be that you tell them to destroy the counterfeit goods. First, of course, proving that these are actually counterfeit goods. Or you can ask them that you want to file a civil lawsuit, for example, and you want these as evidence. And then you can negotiate to get samples at least from the seized goods for your civil case. Some fairs like Frankfurt also offer trademark owners to get on a tour with customs officials. So if you have the chance, that is really an interesting thing to do. You basically go there in the morning and then you take a tour with customs officers along the trade fair, and you can already tell them, okay, I expect this and this company to infringe my rights, or maybe you can tell them most of my infringers come from China or from other countries, and then they already in most cases know where to look for the infringing goods, and then you should have a ready-made template for a criminal complaint with you. so that when you find infringing goods, then you can fill out the criminal complaint, give it to the public prosecutor that is also on the tour. Then the public prosecutor will see whether this is really infringing or not. And once they make the decision that this is infringing, then the customs officers will seize the goods on the premises during the trade fair. And the owner of the booth will also have to pay a penalty. Of course, you cannot really have a huge effect because these are only a couple of items that are seized. But maybe it's good for your media attention and for your communication strategy that you really fight counterfeit goods. You can also help customs officers by creating a brand enforcement guide. That basically is like a brochure where you, on several pages, where you show, okay, these are original goods, these are counterfeit goods, your different product categories, so that the customs officers will easily be able to tell whether something is counterfeit or not. Another thing is that the criminal investigation department of the police, the Kriminalpolizei, is sometimes contacting me, since they usually are not involved in looking for counterfeit goods, but sometimes they are involved in criminal cases like, for example, drug trafficking or weapons trafficking or human trafficking or, other illegal things. And sometimes counterfeit goods and drug smuggling or weapon smuggling is interconnected. So if they make a seizure for, let's say, drugs, they sometimes also find counterfeit goods, and then they will notify the trademark owners or the representatives that are in the registry for the trademarks, and then it's basically a very similar procedure like with customs. You can file a criminal complaint, and then you will have the right to inspect the files and get more information maybe about the origin of the counterfeit goods. Then there is a new cool tool on the market, the enforcement database. It's operated by the EU IPO, the EU Intellectual Property Office, the observatory of the EU IPO, to be exact. And what does it do? You can basically, in this database, you can tell the database what rights you have, what trademarks, what designs, and then you can tell them about your product, very similar to a custom seizure request. And then this information is made available to customs officers, but also to police, and that's an important difference. The customs seizure request is not made available to police authorities in the different EU countries, but the entries in the EDB are made available to police authorities, at least to some. And that's a big difference that might become very interesting in the future. It just started, so you're free to sign up for an account, it's free. And at the moment I don't really see a lot of response, but I think it will become a really powerful tool in the future. So you can alert authorities in a certain country, police or customs, about a certain counterfeit goods incident. So if you know that at a certain location there are counterfeit goods, then you can alert the authorities, and they might go there and have a look and maybe seize your counterfeit goods. So that's a really cool tool. So if you like this video, hit like, subscribe to my channel, questions and comments below this video, and most importantly, protect your ideas and make them count.